many of you may know there are some exciting building projects developing in Newark. NJPAC will be putting up the tallest building in Newark, and it's new market rate housing with some low-income housing, affordable housing attached to it, with a priority for artists and the like. And that's going to go up right across the street from NJPAC. That's going to be, I think, very, very exciting. There's a new hotel that seems to definitely be going forward right by the Prudential Arena, and we certainly can use additional hotel space in downtown Newark. And more preliminary plans about a kind of convention center just across the street from the Prudential Arena that the Newark Housing Authority is talking about. In addition, there is a project, a group that supports housing for actors that's looking very seriously at building a housing project for actors with a stage in the building right adjacent to our business school building in 1 Washington Park, right over in the Washington Park area. And there's also another project to provide housing for teachers in a new project on Broad Street. And there are several other downtown projects that are also moving forward. So, despite the economy, it does seem that more and more things are happening in downtown Newark. Now, many of us have been hearing this for years and wish it would happen faster and more thoroughly, but it does look like it's moving forward. In addition to that, I'm particularly proud to announce that a new food store has opened called Cravings, just over on Halsey Street. And Cravings is the result of a wonderful alliance between a philanthropist, Paul Profeta, and the Center for Urban Entrepreneurship and Economic Development in our business school. And Profeta puts money into new minority-owned small businesses to be clustered around Halsey Street for businesses that are ready to get such loans because MBA students in entrepreneurship have worked with the owners to help them develop the business plans and lay out everything they need to justify loans from this foundation. And so Cravings has opened. There was a big ceremony on Friday, and this is very exciting. I spoke briefly at this ceremony. I said, for us, this is just enlightened self-interest. The more stores there are on Halsey Street, the more attractive the campus is. This is not just serving the community for its own sake. This is serving ourselves as much as the community by helping create entrepreneurship in the city. Let me then tell you a little bit about our own facilities plans. There, we have lots of ideas of things we'd like to do, but two projects that are moving forward, and I'm very hopeful we can formally begin them. One is housing. One is a new undergraduate residence hall on the Essex Street parking lot behind 15 Washington Street, between Essex and University, behind the old law school building at 15 Washington Street. This would be 300 plus beds, parking, and retail on the ground level. It would be the next version of University Square. And we think the demand is there. There are developers who think that this is economically viable, and we're moving forward, making the case to the folks in New Brunswick. The other is a continuing saga, but we think we're just about there now, to redevelop 15 Washington Street, the old law school building that's been closed now for about 10 years, to redevelop that as graduate student apartments and apartments for visiting faculty, and some retail in the Great Hall on the ground level. Those of you who've been here long enough to remember that building. So those are two projects that are moving forward. We have lots and lots of other needs, and we'll just have to see if and when funds will become available. Probably in my list, just about the top of them would be renovation of our teaching laboratories in the sciences. They're very old. They're not up to what could reasonably be expected, and we have very strong science programs, and I really would like to see that happen. And I can't give this talk without anticipating the first question, which is usually, what are you doing about parking? So So I'll anticipate that question by saying, you may remember that we acquired a new parking deck, Deck 3 for students, on Washington Street and the corner of Raymond Boulevard. That's a commercial lot that we purchased. We couldn't use it immediately for student parking because most of the spots in it were leased, had longer-term leases, and we had to wait till those leases expired. Also, the lot needed structural work done. So it was not open last year after we purchased it, but it is open this year. There are 300 spaces in the lot. 100 of them are now available for undergraduate for students, for any students. And I'm told by the people who count these things that never have more than 80 of those 100 spaces been actually filled, which means we have enough parking. Now, people will argue about that. Enough parking usually means parking where I want to park, not where you want me to park. But nonetheless, we have done something about the parking problem. So what is the state of Rutgers-Newark? I'm going to wrap up now and take your questions. So there's no question, declining state support is very troubling. It's very troubling here. It's troubling all across the country. It's getting more and more difficult for young people and their parents to go to college. And this is just a very disturbing trend, and it is certainly true here, and maybe even more impactful on our students because they come from low and modest backgrounds. That is troubling, and tuition keeps going up, and what can we say? We can wring our hands, but we know that's the reality. But ironically, this is coming at a time, as I've suggested, when national attention is being focused on the role of universities, and especially urban universities, in job creation and the revitalization of cities. So what everybody says is we need job creation. Universities are the key to that. So just when we need universities to do all these things, public support is being cut. That's troubling. But despite all of that, as you've gathered, I hope, from this talk, if you're persuaded at all, Rutgers-Newark continues to do terrific things. We continue to gain national visibility. We've defined ourselves clearly as an urban university, a university of unique diversity. And I believe we are achieving our goal of becoming one of the nation's leading urban universities. So thank you so much for listening. I'll be very happy to take any and all of your questions.